So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Peter Wang, and I'm a Senior Delivery Manager with In Glass. For those who are not familiar with what we do as In Glass, we're a software consulting firm focused on unlocking businesses and their potential through automation, integration, and transformation. We more recently partnered with VANTIQ, as David mentioned, in late 2019. And since the start of this year, we've been exploring a lot of innovative solutions built on the VANTIQ platform. The solution that we're going to showcase today will be focused on tackling one of the biggest problems everyone around the world is facing right now, and that is long lines. At the heart of why we chose to focus our efforts on this application is really centered on two main points. First and foremost, it's about helping people to be safe and to survive. And secondly, helping businesses to continue to make money and also survive. These pictures you see here are probably things you've already seen before if you've somehow mustered up the courage to go to your local supermarket. But what we're seeing across the globe is not only an impact to businesses, but also to the services and organizations that are at the forefront battling this pandemic. Nonprofits and healthcare services are deeply restricted in their reach and impact, partly because of the logistical problems caused by something as ordinary as a long line. Just a week ago, at the top right picture, 10,000 plus families waited in line at a San Antonio food bank just to get enough canned goods and non-perishable items to last them a mere week. And then the bottom right picture, just 3 days ago, the government of New Jersey are doubling down their efforts and their initiatives to provide more testing for its people. But the effectiveness and the turnaround, these testing locations are deeply hampered by logistical issues caused by thousands of cars waiting in line. So, that brings me to kind of the solution we're presenting today. As David mentioned, the PDQ app is essentially a virtual queue that helps to manage the flow of traffic in and out of stores and establishments. With the virtual queue, we can ultimately eliminate the formation of long lines in public spaces and the disruption can cause to road traffic. In addition, businesses no longer need to divert their resources and their staff to these kind of non-core business operations activities to really just manage the massive crowds and lines. But ultimately, what we want to do is provide health and government organizations sufficient data to enable contact tracing. We know there are talks about reopening economy, and that's gaining more and more momentum, but a lot of that falls on the ability for governments to really track how the virus is spreading. So it goes without saying that the benefits we want to provide is, one, part convenience for the customer and for the business. But secondly, for the business, their ability to kind of change and adapt to changing regulations. And we want all this solution to really be available without any requirements of third-party hardware, and it has to work right off your phone, right? So kind of with what I introduced to you guys today, I want to hand it off now to Eric Karstedt, who is our head of Director of Technology at In Glass. What he'll do is provide a demonstration of how the app works from both the business and the customer perspective. So with that, take it away, Eric.
You have to stop sharing your screen. Okay, thank you. All right, can you see my screen?
It looks good.
All right, so what I'm going to show is 3 user interfaces, and through those user interfaces, I'm going to discuss some of the things that are happening in the back-end event side of things. So the first thing that I want to talk about is establishing a location and some of the fundamental components of it. So I'm going to add a location. I'm going to provide an address, And based on that address, it's going to take me to the mapping function. And what I can do here now is map out a geofence. And this geofence is going to be used for other functions that the client is going to need. So I'm going to map out an area where I would like the customers to be within whatever, let's say it's 10 minutes of them coming to the top of the queue. So park somewhere in this parking lot. And additionally, I'm going to move this pointer to where the exact entrance is. And that's where the person from the business is going to scan a person into the establishment. And I can set up the max number of people who can come into the store and what my max occupancy is in the store. And if I wanted to, I can also set hours of operations to provide the customers information about that. Ooh, sorry, I need to provide a name. Yeah, that's it. There we go. So now I have added an additional location into there. Let me go back and view it. And I need to set that this is a grocery store and resubmit it. From a business perspective, that's really all they need to do to establish themselves into the environment. They've have a location, they have a geofence, they have specified the number of customers that they can support, and we're ready to go. The next thing that I want to demonstrate is the user client that a customer who's looking for a service. So I have the ability to go in and look for different classifications of services. You know, I could be going to look for pharmacies, or I can be going to look for grocery stores. And with that, I say, okay, yeah, here are the grocery stores around me. I can look at how many people are in the queue. 0 means there's nobody queued. 1 means there's somebody in the queue. Now, in real life, these numbers would be much larger. And I'm going to use the one where we have somebody already in the queue. And I'm going to request a spot in the queue. And I can do this from anywhere. I'm currently at my home. I don't have to be lined up. And it's going to tell me
Exactly.
how many people are in the queue, and based on what the flow through rates is, what my estimated wait time is. So one of the next features that we're adding is the calculating the travel time from my location to that location, so I can estimate in here. Now, there's somebody in the queue right now, and I'm going to ask Evan to request more time. All right, so Evan is one of our developers. He's on another desktop or on his phone, and he says, "Oh, I am not ready." So 3 events could cause my queue position to change. One is somebody gets scanned into the store, so the queue gets decremented. One is somebody leaves the queue, or they request more time and they get moved back farther into the queue. And the situation here is now I have now I'm at the front of the queue. I'm early. I'm not there yet, so I'm actually going to request more time, and it's going to move me farther back in the queue. And it's going to generally move me back based on how much travel time from me to get to the facility. So that's how much it's going to move me back in the queue. At this point, Evan, can you leave the queue? All right, so Evan now has left the queue simulating somebody being checked in. And now I am going to, on this other screen here is my actual phone mirrored to my desktop. I am going to scan in the person. So on my phone now, I'm representing the doorman. So if I go back, I know what location I'm at. I can check people out of the store, or I can scan people into the store. And now I'm going to scan this barcode. And it's pretty fast, but it says, oh, I went to the wrong facility. So I'm not going to check that person in there. You can't go to the wrong facility and check it in. Now I'm in the right location and I have been scanned in and I can enter into the store. And then when I leave the store and I break the geofence, I send a message off to my recording that I've actually left the facility. I don't have to physically scan out. I know just by leaving the area that I've left the establishment. So that's some of the background data collection we can use for contact tracing. And then I can, so that's where we are today. It's pretty much functional that anybody can set up an establishment and start providing a virtual queue so people don't need to stand in line, stand in the snow or the rain, wait 4 hours in a vehicle for testing. If they're sick, you know, that's probably not the best place for them to be in a hot vehicle. And we are going to add additional capabilities for the establishments, whether it's the government organization, the healthcare service, or the retail outlet to provide additional information, messages, you know, specials, that kind of thing, so that they can get some additional benefit if they wish out of the application. And that really brings my piece to the end, and I'm going to pass it back to Peter for a moment.
Okay, thank you, Eric, for that demo. Just want to give a quick summary because I think our demo, you know, we've worked on it for the past 2 weeks, so it wasn't that long of a time, but we were able to get quite a lot of features built into what we have presented today. To highlight some of that, I want to just do a quick overview. So obviously, one of the first things that we want to do is allow businesses to optimize and configure certain, let me full screen. Optimize businesses so they can configure certain parameters that cater to their needs and demographic. Secondly, provide the convenience for customers to find points of interest nearby and do that quickly. The third point, we want to push relevant and automated notifications to customers, whether it's, you know, reminders of where they are in line. But I think even looking ahead to allow businesses to communicate to their core customers vital information like stock availability of their goods, right? If you're a supermarket. The fourth point, we want to provide accurate estimates of wait time so that we can reduce the amount of wasted time from customers sitting in their car, or I think even more dangerously, loitering in the parking lots. And the fifth point, to enable contact tracing for governments and healthcare services. And the last point, I think this is a work in progress for us right now, and it will be for quite a while, because we need to partner with various industry verticals to identify the key metrics that really matter to them the most, and then how to display those reporting and statuses in a meaningful way. So that's going to be an ongoing process for us as we partner with more and more industries. And I think we look forward to engaging you all, whether it's questions on the app itself or how we can partner together to bring to market an innovation like what we're presenting today. And I think while our current effort is to provide life-saving solutions to, during this COVID crisis, I think it's apparent to all that an application like PDQ will be relevant for any establishment that have to deal with lines on a daily basis, whether it be in theme parks or at your local clinic or dentist. And if you're interested to learn more how Bits in Glass is continuing to deliver these solutions, please contact Scott Heather, who is our VANTIQ practice lead at Bits in Glass.